Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to round 6 of the MaD Dragon Rugby Championship 2024. Bledisloe 2 today. New Zealand going up against Australia for our final game of the Rugby Championship. Taking a look at the table as the results stand at the end of round 5. The All Blacks in second place, only 2 points behind the leaders, Springboks out there on 17. A win today going to be massively important. A draw would be good, but that points difference is going to see them finish out in second. The Wallabies down in third place on 10 points. A win for them would see a hefty boost in points, but third is the highest they can get. Today is all about whether or not the All Blacks can try and take pole position going into that final game as Damian McKenzie gets us kicked off and underway, but Australia get off to the better start, collecting the ball and moving themselves up towards that halfway line. But Talialatupo runs into a brick wall. Oh, and a bit of a miscommunication there between two of the Wallabies players. Sees the ball drop to the ground, and New Zealand have the opportunity to maybe get on the scoreboard very early here as Will Jordan charges down that wing. Oh, gets a great dance around two defenders. Who's with him? Can someone support him? Damian McKenzie's in this midfield. Doesn't look particularly comfortable out on his feet. Think he's picked up a knock very early into this game as Luke Jacobson carries it on here. Passing out wide as they get out to Sevu Reece trying to get round. Andrew Kellaway manages to bounce around one. Stays in field, but Australia do well to manage to keep that ball in their own possession, and the ball will go into touch. And already an injury concern coming in for the All Blacks. Damian McKenzie has had to come off the field. Quinta Pye will be coming on at that inside centre position, meaning a big shift around in this All Black squad. Beauden Barrett sliding to that 10 shirt, and Geordie Barrett's had to go into fullback. A lot of swapping around in this New Zealand team early on, not to mention that they are missing from the starting lineup Ardie Savea this week due to an injury picked up in the last round. He has been put back on the team. He is in the bench, but Luke Jacobson is starting in that number 8 shirt, so it'll be interesting to see how this shaken up New Zealand team is going to be able to hold out with this. As an excellent kick there from Andrew Kellaway puts them all the way back to the halfway line. That is a great exit clearance kick. Andrew Kellaway maybe not having his best game last week. We're looking to try and impress the coaches in this one as TJ Perenara manages to get that ball bouncing past his first runner, though picked up easily by Quinta Pye as New Zealand want to spread this out wide. Rieko Ioane getting it back out to Will Jordan, been used very effectively so far in this game, gets a grubber kick round. It's a complete race between the fullback and Will Jordan, who's going to beat him to that try line. They know getting points on the board earlier on is going to be very important in this game, not just to try and be able to win this game. They need the points difference to go in their favour by about 20 points to get ahead of South Africa. If their game ends up being a draw, they could also be looking at trying to get that bonus point by getting 3 tries more than Australia today. There is a lot to be asked of this All Blacks team as Beauden Barrett steps up for our first kick of the game and slides it through, having to take over that fly half roll, but of course has played in that position for a long time in the All Blacks in his past, as Luke Jacobson gets absolutely rocked by Wilson there. No way forwards, and they play it out now through the forwards to the captain, Sam Cane, this week charging it on, but not supported by his men. Sees an early turnover, and Gordon wants to try and play it out quickly towards that left-hand wing, out to Corriabeti, where there's already been so much action going on, but the ball dropped by Marika Corriabeti out on that wing in the tackle, gives a knock-on advantage, and we will go for the scrum. Geordie Barrett running across there, getting involved in the tackle. Great work by him. First scrum of the day then, of course, 2 big monster forward-based teams involved here. They love getting involved with the scrum. We'll see how they get on. Conditions are nice in the stadium today. They'll be looking to try and dig in deep into the grass and get on with a huge shove. Try and get the idea put in the referee's mind that you are the dominant team in that scrum, as TJ Perenara wants to take it quickly back in the starting team this week. Oh, pass going slightly loose, though. They eventually get it out to Reece, who thinks he's seen room down in that backfield, but the wind maybe just coming off on the side of the ball. Bit of a slice as well. Sees that ball kicked straight into touch. Finney Christie moved to the bench this week after getting his yellow card in the last round on a high tackle on Marika Corriabeti. Oh, as Beauden Barrett lets that one go. So TJ Perenara starting back in the team this week. We're hoping to make a big impact to this one as well, as Australia get on the charge as Geordie Barrett rushing up into that defensive line as well to get involved Australia still with the ball in hand. Noah Lolosio trying to just get around the outside of players, but Cody Taylor chops him down at the legs. They go back out to Andrew Kellaway. Nowhere through there as Ethan de Groot, a much bigger man, going to be stopping him on the way down that wing. Maybe not the opposition number he was thinking he was going to come up against. And this time, Wilson trying to carry it up. Marika Corriabetti out here again on this ring with a lot of room to work with. Will Jordan playing awfully deep further back, maybe expecting a kick. It's not come, and eventually, actually, Marika Corriabetti's run away from this one, and Will Jordan trying to get around that outside again. This seems to be a tactic employed by New Zealand today. They feel like there is room down that wing to be exploited as Scott Barrett bashes through one, but Angus Bell says not through me and pushes him back, and Luke Jacobs in this time getting that ball out to Reese, but wrapped up on the side by the lock, getting out for him. TJ Perenara wants to go quick, pops it off to the new boy, Quintu Paya, getting it out here, goes for a high kick. Can he get on the end of it? Does manage it, and manages to put it down, nearly having to double check himself on the step to not run into touch. Quintu Paya coming onto this field, not one he was expecting to be involved with heavily in this game. He's had the early opportunity, and what a way to get involved with this game, getting a huge kick over Tom right there. That ball bouncing very, very close to that touchline, nearly going dead. He had to check his own run, do a bit of a spin to get back in the field to play and make sure he dotted that ball down. But that is 2 tries for New Zealand and 2 conversions there for that man. Boden Barrett, of course, still wearing 15. But moving into that fly half position now. Oh, was that bounce dropping very short and caught all of the All Blacks a little bit unawares there. The ball bouncing backwards. You know the bouncer of rugby ball can really go everywhere. Luckily for the All Blacks, though, Rob Valentini going straight in, off his feet in the ruck, sees the referee give an easy penalty to New Zealand, and those sorts of things are real coach killers in a game where Australia are hoping to try and get on the front foot. But talking of coach killers, there is a big one. Boden Barrett really not managing to find touch there, and again he'll pick it up this time. He's got the win a bit more with him this time. We maybe think he's got a bit more room in that backfield, and now it's just a foot race. Who's there? Andrew Kellaway's going to win the foot race, but Boden Barrett chasing that one down heavy as they kick it out deep, this time to Geordie Barrett from brother to brother as he gets a grubber kick on. Who's chasing this one down? This time Tom Wright having to get involved. A bit of a loose pass. Oh, sees it go out. Well collected though by Hunter Paisami, scooping that ball up. Australia still yet to get on this scoreboard in this game, and they've looked pretty scrappy early on. Australia have really been struggling to get into the game. It's been all New Zealand so far, but that's a good charge there by Fine Guard just to make a couple metres after the tackle. That's what the coaches will be wanting to see. Wilson moves them up outside of their 22, and Hunter Paisami, who started this all out, is moving up the field. Oh, gets a dance around the outside. Who's going to be able to chase him back? I think that's Quintu Paya chasing him down. What a great run by the try scorer to get back, and New Zealand just about hold it out. The clock is in the red. Maybe New Zealand will want to put this one into touch and just go in at halftime in the lead, but they'll know how important tries are going to be as Ethan Blackadder takes it up to Jacobson, gets it out to Scott Barrett. He's got Severis on the outside of him with Boden Barrett back on the inside. Passes back in, but doesn't work for him. TJ Perenara wants to go quickly. Ioane, maybe a bit of confusion there between the All Blacks. People just running all over the place. It's not looking very formulated there. They might want to have just kicked that ball out as Australia go wide. Good work by Ethan de Groot to just manage to collect that ball, and New Zealand managed to get back into control inside their own 22, and Will Jordan wants to try and take this one out on a run as he gets it round, and Tom Wright wants to try and get on the end of this. This ball is going to stay in field. It's just a foot race between all of the backs. Who's going to be able to get there first? And it's Will Jordan manages to get over for his second of the game. What a great piece of work there. I really thought just kicking it out would be the safe option here. Will Jordan managing to get around the outside of Corriabetti, taking it right down to that touchline. Tom Wright cut really close in. No one else back there. It's just a foot race between Tom Wright and Will Jordan. And in terms of a pace run, you've got to give your money on Will Jordan, that managing to win, taking New Zealand to a 3rd try in the first half. What a performance this is by the All Blacks team, and Boden Barrett to slot through a 3rd conversion of the game. It's 21 points to 0 at half-time. This is exactly what the coaches will be looking for. What can Australia do in the second half? Well, guys, we're on to Bledisloe 2. The All Blacks going back up against Australia. And after a performance last week that might have left New Zealand wanting, they know this game is going to be all important to try and stand a chance of still winning this year's Rugby Championship. New Zealand, though, got off to a bit of a weak start through an injury going into Damien McKenzie. A big blow for this team, causing a bit of shifting around, having to go off. Boden Barrett moving into that fly half. Geordie Barrett at fullback and Quintu Paya moving onto the field. But you have to say those changes don't don't feel like they've diminished this All Blacks team at all, getting 3 tries in this first half, starting out with Will Jordan, who's been targeting that right-hand wing all game, really trying to punish Corey on that right-hand side and just making inroads down that wing. Over to the other wing, and Quinta Paya getting over for the second try of the game. A bit of individual brilliance here, getting the chip over the top of the Australian backs, managing to collect his own kick, having to check his run a little bit just to make sure he stayed inside the field of play, making the most of himself getting in the All Blacks jersey this week. And then the third try going in once again for Will Jordan, when you think maybe it would have been safer to have kicked it out after it got a bit scrappy for the All Blacks. Will Jordan's done a great piece of work to be able to kick the ball long and was always going to win that foot race. Along with Beauden Barrett getting 3 kicks from 3, sees New Zealand on a 21-point lead at halftime. Not a lot for the coaches to offer this New Zealand team. Australia, on the other hand, the coaches will be going ballistic. A couple of real coach killers in that first half. They'll be looking to try and bounce back in this second half. On to the second half then, and New Zealand off to a great one so far, but reinforcements arriving in the form of Armour in the hooker department, and Ardie Savea coming back in after his injury last week is coming back onto the field in replacement of Luke Jacobson. They do not want to slow down the momentum of this game, but it's Australia once again getting off to a good start as Angus Bell charging up this time, moving up towards the 22, as is Valetini trying to push them up a little bit further. Rodder has to step in that lock department, moving into the scrum half just to try and get that ball out with the scrum half wrapped at the ball going slightly loose though, and Quinta Paya managing to get on that. Looks like he's had a massive collision in the middle of that. The TMO will be checking that in the background. Doesn't look very comfortable on his feet. Might have taken a big shot to the head, and suddenly it is Australia going back down the wing with Corey Obeti, but Will Jordan manages to stop him charging down the side, and New Zealand will be looking to put pressure onto that ruck. Angus Bell steps in at scrum half, and Hunter Paisami wrapped up in the midfield. They do have numbers out to this right-hand side. They haven't noticed it, though. Another good tackle coming in by Quinta Paya once again there on Wilson, not letting them through. And this time Andrew Kellaway chopped down at the legs by Tupou. Australia struggling to find anywhere through at the minute. However, it is causing an issue for New Zealand, who will want possession of the ball themselves to try and get back up the other end of the pitch to score. There looks to be another injury coming in here, potentially for Australia this time. There's been all sorts of big knocks in this game. It looks like Quinta Paya is happy after his earlier head knock that looked like came in the bottom of that ruck. And Andrew Kellaway now going on the charge down the right wing. That's what Australia we wanted to see. Room beginning to open up in this New Zealand defence, and held up now in the driving maul. Who's in there for Australia? Wilson at the back, trying to tap on the backside of Angus Bell, saying, give me the ball, let's get on with it. The clock slowly ticking down. They pass it out towards the left. Not looking comfortable, though, with a bit of an injury out here. And suddenly New Zealand trying to punish at the breakdown and do it. Ethan Blackadder is trying to make his own way down this wing. Can't manage to escape. And Australia will take the most of that and be able to get yet another turnover. Andrew Kellaway is out on this wing all on his own. If someone can notice it, New Zealand will not be happy with how much this game has slowed down. Australia having a much better second half, and the ball finally getting out to Andrew Kellaway as Reese has to run across field to finally get to him, but Scott Barrett is the one who has to eventually make the tackle. New Zealand once again looking disjointed in their own 22 here, and Lolosio picks a great pass to Hunter Paisami. They're playing great interlinking passes, and Harry Wilson is eventually the one who manages to go over for the try. New Zealand won't want that. It has been a huge time cost for them, as well as conceding some points will mean that points difference in the table will be coming into question now. But great work here by Lolosio, interlinking with Hunter Paisami. What a great pass that is to pick that line, pass back inside to Tom Wright, and then an offload to Harry Wilson, so close to that try line, so hard to stop. But it is Rob Leota who didn't look comfortable before. He is coming off for that injury, so Pete Samu going onto the field as his replacement. And you think with the bolsters New Zealand brought on at halftime, maybe they would be looking to get off to the better start of this one, but so far it has been the tale of Australia being in charge of it. Beauden Barrett then to get us back kicked off and underway, and New Zealand will know they need a big finish to this game as the ball allowed to bounce goes high, but Armour eventually getting underneath the ball, and TJ Perenara wants to try and spike his way down that wing. Doesn't work for them. Jake Gordon getting a little bit too eager there, rushing off his feet, and New Zealand say more substitutes to come on. Dalton Papali'i coming on for Sam Cane, and actually at this point New Zealand have opted to go for the scrum. They obviously felt like they had an earlier advantage in the scrum. They've got the more forward replacements on. They're obviously trying to tie up a lot of those Australian forwards in the scrum. It gives them a bit more room to be able to explode with these backs. Let's see how they'll get on as the ball is pushed back towards the edge of the scrum, and TJ Piranara wants to take it quickly himself. He's managed to get around the outside. The ball, though, popped off to Quintupaya to Blackadder, not managing to get anywhere there. Severis out here, completely isolated. He's trying to get around. Callaway out on that wing, gets the grubber kick through, but doesn't work. And Tom right now, back on the charge, has to get saved by Tupou Vaa'i, coming back for a great tackle there, and the game has opened up. That might have been a big question to go into. You think maybe a kick to the corner might have been the better option for New Zealand. They chose to go for the scrum. They felt confident in it, and now they've got to run the length of the field this time as Geordie Barrett wants to try and make his way up. But two, linking back up with his original centre partnership with Rieko Ioane, and now Beauden Barrett trying to find room down that wing. They've been looking to try and spread this ball wide all day as Scott Barrett pops it off to Tupou Vaa'i, who's managed to hit a superb gap, and he's still going. Who's going to be able to get back? I think that's Hunter Paisami. Gets back to make an absolutely necessary tackle, and this time Armua's looking to try and hit that same gap in the midfield. Doesn't work for him, and Gordon manages to get that ball out to his winger. Andrew Callaway now trying to get back up this edge of the field. They maybe want to finish this game strong for themselves as well. It has been an all-Australian second half after such a dominant first half performance, but New Zealand rush in and take advantage of that loose breakdown there. And Rieko Ioane popping it off to Armua, to Dalton Papali'i, new onto the field. First carry for him right at the end of the game. He might have wanted to get more involved since coming on, but here he is to Will Jordan as it goes back out to this wing. Will he be able to keep the ball in play? Doesn't manage it, and the ball will drift just into touch, and that will be the end of the game. New Zealand will celebrate enough. A win is a win. Points on the table. Unfortunately, not getting the bonus point for getting 3 more than Australia will see them finish on 19 points. Just 2 points ahead of the Springboks, which means a draw on the cards for the Springboks could still see them winning, or a win will see them be the outright winners. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to know when the Springboks versus Argentina game is up on the channel, guys. Do you think this could be a similar result that we could be seeing on the weekend, or do you think Australia could be taking Bledisloe too? I'll see you all next time, guys. Bye-bye.